Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval Creed. Today we'll be reviewing the currently only German destroyer in the game, the Prism ship Z1, and we will be seeing what she has to bring to the game. Now before that, I do want to let you know that there is currently some work being done on the 9.6 cruisers. There is a developer diaries page that is currently out on Facebook. I don't have the pictures right now because it's mainly nothing important. It's just talking about cruisers such as Buki, Worcester, Des Moines, Magdeburg, Minotaur, Elnevsky, and Moskva as well. Um, well, first off, I should say that they're putting Worcester back as a 9.6. So all of the 9.6 cruisers are going to have a little bit of work done on them, mainly in the fact of getting an additional heal, some changes made to the armor penetration of some shells, and let's see, some changes made to detectability and main gun range as well. We can go over those later on, but for right now, just expect that those changes are going to be coming out. However, how soon, I cannot tell you, but that is something that the developer diaries did say. So, today's video, Z1, what does the first German destroyer in Naval Creed bring to the table? Honestly, she can be a fun destroyer. However, she's not the most powerful. So let's just take a look to see what kind of stats we have. We have 14,700 health. We have a maximum of 16 millimeters of armor, which is practically nothing. But again, you're a destroyer. You're not known for your armor. So yeah, there's that. So what else do we have? We have 5 main guns of 128 millimeter guns. So these are about 5.1 inch, I would say, because 5 is 127. So we have them arranged in like a Fletcher or a Benson layout. We have 2 on the bow, we have 1 in midships, and then 2 astern. And these guns are actually really good. They have 11 rounds a minute, so maybe not the fastest firing guns, but you have really good shell velocity and armor piercing damage. These guns actually do a pretty decent amount of armor piercing damage. Your main gun range is 12.2 kilometers, so it does shoot out pretty far. Torpedoes, you have 2 quadruple launchers amidships, very similar to a Fletcher. And these torpedoes go to 9.5 kilometers. Let's see, if I remember correctly, these are the longest torpedoes from a destroyer at this range that are not Japanese. American torpedoes, that being Sims, I think the longest torpedoes that she has are 9.2 kilometers, and then everything else is below that. Ibuki, or not Ibuki, a Fubuki and a Katsuki both have torpedoes that can range out to 12 and 15 kilometers, though. So those will outrange literally everyone at this tier, but Z1 can outrange everything that's not Japanese in terms of torpedoes. So our torpedoes are really good. 57 knots, not the fastest, 0.67 rounds a minute. They reload relatively good. A 1.5 kilometer detectability range for your torpedoes is also really good. Flood chance of 136.31% and 15,400 maximum damage per torpedo. Speed, we go 37 knots, so we are quite a fast ship as well. And let's take a look at the anti-aircraft defense. You have some, however, I wouldn't say that is exactly impressive. You may knock down a few aircraft, but you're definitely not going to be focused in an anti-aircraft mode. And anyway, I don't have her fully concealed, but mine is currently 6.5. Your base concealment is 7.2, so I already have it down 8. Was it 5, 6, 700 meters or so? But I'm sure you can get it down to about 6.1 or 6.2, fully concealed. Consumables, we have a torpedo reload booster, which doesn't act like a normal torpedo reload booster, at least not the last time I played her. It kind of plays like the older one, So the newer one, you press the reload booster consumable and you immediately have torpedoes in like 10 or 12 seconds or so. The original torpedo booster only took off 45 seconds of the total reload. So it doesn't matter if your reload was a minute or a minute and a half, it only took off 45 seconds. So you could press it and still sometimes have over a minute reload for your torpedoes. So it was kind of questionable to actually even use it, and most of the time. Um, but once they came out with the new change, it made it so much better. However, the German destroyer doesn't exactly get the newer one; it gets the older one. So you can press the reload consumable, but only you still have quite a bit of time. You have like 40 or 50 seconds before your torpedoes are still reloaded. Let's see here. Yep, torpedo tube cooldown reduced by 45 seconds. So, and you do have 4 of those though. You also get hydroacoustic search. Now this actually goes all the way out to 5.5 kilometers for ships, such as in smoke screens, and torpedoes out to 3.5 kilometers. And you have 4 charges of those, and they last for 90 seconds. This is really good, so you can, if you have a friendly smoke screen or even an enemy smoke screen that you're using, you can pop your hydro and spot ships without being spotted yourself. You also have a normal repair or damage control. However, if you notice something, you don't have the option of equipping a smoke screen at all on this destroyer. I'm pretty sure this might be one of the only destroyers, if not the only destroyer in the game right now, that has no option of even equipping a smoke screen. You have some that you can choose not to equip a smoke screen, but it's still there. I think Z1 is the first one that you can't equip it at all. So you do always have to keep that in mind when you're playing the ship. You don't have any quick concealment ability. You always have to keep track of where your targets are and where your detecting or detectability and detection range is. So with that, let's toss her into a game and see what we can do. Alright, and here ourselves a game. 3 battleships, 3 cruisers, 1 destroyer. No carriers, which I'm not going to complain about, but you don't really get the chance to see how she fares against carriers either. But I think we should be able to do a pretty decent amount of damage. So I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied, so do keep that in mind. And let's see, we have a 3.7 second reload on guns and a minute 16 on torpedoes, currently with all my buffs applied. So let's hop right into the fight and see what we can do. So there's only 1 destroyer. What are the cruisers we have? Brooklyn, Pensacola, and Agano. So easy to citadel with armor piercing on the broadside. And then we have a Hood, an Andre Doria, and a Andre Doria. Hood isn't that maneuverable, and she actually has a pretty decent broadside for armor piercing, so she should be okay. The Andre Dorias are actually going to be the ones that give me the most issue. Right? And you also don't have the ability to equip a speed boost on this destroyer as well. So your main speed of 37 knots, or in my case, 41.8 knots, is the only speed that you can have, or your max speed, I should say. There's no way to increase that unless you have ornaments or buffs or flags or stuff like that. I'm going to turn my anti-aircraft defensive off, though I don't think it'll help me very much right now. Let's see, I have 6.5 concealment currently. We're capping the base. Right, I could send some torpedoes out there, honestly. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. Right, so some torpedoes. Torpedo reload booster. See, you still have 30 seconds until you can actually use your torpedoes again, even though you just used a torpedo reload booster. Alright, so guns are out. Pretty decent reload and shell velocity. Accuracy is somewhat questionable, but you do get enough target or shells on target to make a difference. A little bit more damage or so. One thing I do want to say about this destroyer is that she feels like she turns like a brick. I'm not it always feels like a cruiser when I am trying to turn in this destroyer. And we did not get a single torpedo hit, but that's alright. We're going to switch to armor piercing and see if we can do some damage this way instead. Though with that kind of angle, I'm just going to ricochet. So let's switch briefly back to high explosive. And then we have a bunch of battleships bearing down on us. So it might be interesting if we rushed. However, I don't think I would survive that, unfortunately, because I don't have a heal either. Alright, so let's send one set of torps this way. We actually have a damaged gun. Interesting. Which I already think those torpedoes are going to miss, unfortunately. Let's send one this way. Switch to armor piercing. Alright, I'm going to pop a hydro because I don't want any surprise torpedoes from this Agano. Though I'm kind of too close to make much of a difference at this point anyways. Let's put some armor piercing into our side, see if we can get some citadels. Ooh, we got 2 torpedoes. Ooh, 3 torpedo hits. There goes the Agano. Ooh, hi Italians. Alright, so let's see if we can get some citadels on Brooklyn. There we go, 2 citadels for 5,600 damage. Alright, so let's see how our armor piercing does against battleships in a second. I can send some more torps out here. Alright, so we're going to send some more torps that way. And let's see what armor piercing does on this Andre Doria. Oh, we're going to nail the wreck of the cruiser. Oh, man. That was a waste of torpedoes. And so it's actually not terrible. I'm getting a little bit of damage, but it will add up over time. And that's really what's important. And 4 torpedo hits on the hood. And she is considerably hurting. Alright, and we're going to send some torps this way. And run aground. But we should be okay for right now. Though I would like to get off the island a little bit quicker than slow. There she goes. I'm in permanent detection, so I just need to run at this point. And not be on fire. But we're going to get sunk anyways. Don't know why I was going that way. That's not the way I was turning. Alright, well, we were sunk, but we did a pretty decent amount of damage. And this last hood should be going down any second now. So we'll be able to win this game. So let's see how we did. There's the victory. We had 158,000 damage, 1 ship was sunk, 97 shell hits, 10 torpedo hits, 3 citadels, 1 fire, 3 floodings, 1 defended cap, 5,900 base XP, and 8,400 free XP. So honestly, this actually wasn't that good of a game. I'm going to get that out right now. But we were still able to do about 45,000 damage in main battery weaponry, 35,000 damage in armor piercing, 9,900 damage in high explosive, and then the rest was pretty much in torpedoes with 112,000 damage. And a little bit of fire and flooding, but not enough to really make a difference. But yeah, this ship is really good against destroyers and cruisers, I would say. She has the hydro and the high explosive for destroyers, and she also has the armor piercing and torpedoes with torpedo reload booster for cruisers. Battleships she can handle, however, she's not the best one for that. There's better destroyers at this tier for that, such as Japanese destroyers. Carriers, you don't have enough AA to really make it work. That's something that Glowworm might be better at, since she has a really good anti-aircraft defense suite. However, our Z1 is a pretty decent ship in terms of um, anti-destroyer play. That Hydro really makes a difference. If you can see your this enemy ship in a smoke screen at 5.5 kilometers, but they have to get within 2 kilometers of you to see you in a smoke screen, that is easily 3.5 kilometers of area that you're invulnerable, and you can see them and shoot them and have your entire other teammates shoot them as well. So it's a very powerful asset to have on a destroyer, and I do expect to see her in arena pretty often if she is strong as she seems now. So with that, I will wrap up today's video. If you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe. And tomorrow, haven't finished getting enough free XP to purchase Robin just yet, so I don't have her, so I can't review her. Also, we have Hiraga, but considering I'm waiting for the second tier 10 Japanese battleship, the one I'm going to be renaming Shinomi, to be released and even previewed, I don't have the ability to go through both of those ships yet, so we will be waiting to review her as well. So therefore, that leaves us with starting the Russian Dreadnought battleship line. So now all of the Dreadnought battleships have been released, so they are free for video. However, we are just starting to see what the World War II line would look like, so the second part of the battleships will eventually have to wait. But that being said, tomorrow we will be going over Ganga. So again, thank you for watching and take care.